Que pasa YouTube, 6fthax here, have for you guys today another Wi-Fi battle. I'm hoping that the audio doesn't mess up in this video like it messed up in the previous upload, although it was only for like one part. I don't know why Audacity did that, but hopefully it won't do it again. If you guys do enjoy the battle, which was a really good match I had off of my stream the other day, then make sure to hammer the like button down below, guys. Thank you all for your support. One like can definitely go a long way. Also, please make sure to answer the question of the day, because this will probably affect future Wi-Fi battles depending on what you guys say about it. So looking at the team, the biggest threat I saw on Proto-Sigma's team was easily going to be that Mamoswine. My only real switch in is my Necrozma, and that is if I'm at full HP, so I can take 2 EQs and potentially Moonlight. Dragonite could be a slight problem if it gets up 2 Dragon Dances, and then Mega Pinsir late game could also be a huge problem. And if I can get rid of the Tapu Fini, I should be able to spike stack on my opponent, and that'll put me in a really good scenario in this match. So let's go ahead and get this started. So I am going to be leading off with my Necrozma, as he is going to be leading off with his Magnezone. So I can find out if this Magnezone is either going to be Specs or Scarfed, and because I'm able to outspeed him, I'm now thinking that he is most likely going to be a Specs variant. Now, I am a very bulky Necrozma, and that did about 60% to my Necrozma, which was automatically screaming, holy crap, this Magnezone is definitely Choice Specs. So I'm going to switch out here into my Marowak, because I am a Spadef bulky Marowak. I should be able to live Flash Cannon pretty easily, as he ends up making a pretty good double switch into the Tapu Fini, obviously predicting me to switch out and not wanting to leave in my Necrozma. And now that Necrozma has been weakened, Mamoswine has become a slightly bigger problem than it already is. So here I'm going to switch out, predicting him to just want to go for the Defog. If he does want to be aggressive and go for the Surf, then that's fine. My Necrozma can easily outspeed Tapu Fini next turn, and I can go for the Moonlight, because I'll definitely live a non-boosted Surf coming from Tapu Fini, as he does end up going for the Defog. The fact that he has Defog means he doesn't have Calm Mind. So it's really good for me, which means in the long run, I will be able to beat down this Tapu Fini and potentially win a one-on-one matchup. So I'm going to take this opportunity to get on my rocks, expecting him to just want to go for the Surf, but he pulls out the Calm Mind. Now, I am not lying to you guys when I say I have never seen a Defog and Calm Mind Tapu Fini. And this was probably worst case scenario right now in this matchup, because not only can this possibly sweep me, but it can get rid of my hazards that I want to get up, because that's what this team was based around, was getting up spikes with Klefki and getting up rocks with Necrozma, so Xurkitrees and Greninja could have an easy time getting KOs into a KOs. So by switching into my Xurkitrees here, I'm going to pull a double switch back into my Necrozma, predicting him to switch out, fearing the electric type move. Now, I wasn't too sure if the hidden power on my Xurkitrees was HP ground or not, so I could have gone for the hidden power here, and if it was HP ground, I might have been able to knock out this Magnezone. Either way though, I will be able to switch out here back into my Marowak, not wanting to stay in on this Magnezone for it to get off a huge hit on me. As he does go for the Thunderbolt, I'm very positive he is going to switch out this turn, so predicting his switch into the Tapu Fini, I'm going to pull a double switch back into my Xurkitrees. Now this is where things get a little bit tricky, because I could go for the Volt Switch or the Thunderbolt, or I could go for the Energy Ball, but if I go for Energy Ball, he brings in Magnezone. So I go for the hidden power, hoping that it would be the correct hidden power, so if he did bring back in the Magnezone, I could potentially knock it out, because it should be HP ground. But he actually ends up bringing in the Mamoswine. As I get off a pretty good chunk of damage onto it, I'm going to make the aggressive switch into my Necrozma here, expecting him to just want to get up his Stealth Rocks, obviously knowing that I'm going to be scared out because another hit won't knock it out, and Earthquake in return can knock me out. So here, I'm very positive I can live any one hit, or any 2 hits potentially, coming from this Mamoswine Mamoswine, and I go for my Stealth Rocks, but this was honestly a misplay on my part. What I should have definitely done was gone for the Moonlight and not gone for the Stealth Rocks, because if I had gone for the Moonlight, I might have been able to recover up to a point where I would have been out of range of being 2-hit KO'd by this Mamoswine. So he is able to knock me out with the second Earthquake. However though, I do get on my rocks, which are going to be pretty nice if I am able to prevent that Tapu Fini from coming in and defogging. So by bringing in my Greninja here, I put him in a position of where he has to switch out, knowing how much of a threat Mamoswine is to my team. I'm going to pull a double switch into my Xurkitrees, predicting him to bring in the Tapu Fini. This way, I can potentially prevent him from going for the defog, or because I've not been going for an electric type move against this Tapu Fini, this might now be my chance to go for the Thunderbolt or go for the Volt Switch. And after thinking about it, Volt Switching is definitely my better play to do, because if he does leave in Tapu Fini as he does here, I am going to be able to get off a huge hit and keep up offensive momentum on my side, because if I had gone for the Thunderbolt, then that would have allowed him to bring in either the Magnezone or most likely bring in the Mamoswine, which Mamoswine would have been able to come in and get a KO with Earthquake or even Icicle Crash. So by Volt Switching into my Zygarde, I'm in a good spot where I can easily just go for the 1,000 arrows. I don't need to try and set up here. I don't have to overpredict. 1,000 arrows hits his entire team, and I'm going to be able to knock out the Tapu Fini at this range of HP, as he actually ends up switching into the Dragonite. I'm not sure why he actually made this play. He told me the reason after we battled, but I forgot. I think he thought that 1,000 arrows didn't hit flying types, but of course 1,000 arrows is the only ground move in Pokemon that does hit flying types. So here I make an aggressive play and I go for a second 1,000 arrows, predicting him to predict me to switch out, fearing me being knocked out by the dragon type move. I could have also gone for the outrage, but if I did outrage, then I'm pretty sure I would have been locked into it, so he could have brought in Tapu Fini or even brought in Mamoswine to just revenge kill me. So I'm going to be able to knock out the Dragonite with the extreme speed, as in comes this giant ass threat known as Mamoswine, and I'm going to be forced out here into my Klefki. I was really hoping that he did go for the Icicle Crash, so I could have maybe got up one layer of spikes. Getting up just one layer of spikes would have been so helpful to me in this game, but it's fine though, because I can get a free switch into my Greninja, and now I put him in a scenario where I should be able to pick up a KO here, or to a KO the incoming Tapu Fini. So I'm finally able to get rid of this Mamoswine, thus getting rid of his biggest threat and his Stealth Rocker. So we are on an even playing field in this match now, because neither of us can get up our rocks, and I've already lost my Spiker. So in comes the Magnezone, and if I had Hydro Pump, I think that I would have actually been able to knock him out with the Hydro Pump, but I don't. So I am going to be forced out here into my Marowak, and that flash, man, Specs Magnezone is doing way too much damage. This is a def bulky Alola Marowak, and that thing did about 40% to me. So predicting him to bring in the Tapu Fini, I'm just going to go for the Shadow Bone. I was really close to going for the Will-O-Wisp, but I didn't want to do that on the off chance that he did try to bring in the Tapu Fini, as he brought in the Alola Persian here. Something in my gut was telling me that he was most likely going to go for the Z Parting Shot. So I take this opportunity to go for the Protect, and lo and behold, he does try to go for the Z Parting Shot. Now, if he had got the Z Parting Shot off, he would have been able to bring in his Tapu Fini, and because of Z Parting Shot's ability, it would have given back Tapu Fini the rest of its HP. So that could have been a problem in its own right, because like I said, it could potentially sweep me late game. So knowing that I still have use for my Alola Marowak because of the Magnezone, I'm going to make an aggressive switch into my Xurkitrees, knowing that I should be able to live a foul play. I am then going to go for the Volt Switch. I didn't want to go for the Thunderbolt, because if I did go for the Thunderbolt, then that just invites him to bring in Magnezone, and because my Marowak is already so weakened, he could have potentially 2KO'd me with Flash Cannon, or he could have pulled Double Switch accordingly. So as he goes for the Parting Shot, he Parting Shots into his Mega Pinsir, and here I end up making a pretty good play, I think, and I go for the Ice Beam. Now, I was very, very close to going for the Skull, thinking that maybe he wouldn't Mega Evolve, fearing me having the Ice Beam. Luckily though, I do go for the Ice Beam here, and because I am a -1, the Pinsir is just able to barely live and is gonna knock me out with the Frustration. This is okay though, because I can then just bring in either my Zygarde or bring in my Xurkitrees here, and I bring in Xurkitrees because I will definitely be able to go for the Volt Switch as he actually switches into his Magnezone. I'm not really too sure why he did this. If anything, I want to say that he should have just fought off his Pinsir, because I'm able to chip down the Magnezone and I can Volt Switch back into my Zygarde 10%, which is going to be able to safely go for the 1000 arrows. Again, I don't have to try and set up here because I am actually a Dragon Dance Zygarde 10%. And I don't have to go for the 10%. 10%. I don't. Sorry. And I could have gone for the Outrage, but then that would have invited him to potentially bring in the Tapu Fini, and then obviously Outrage doesn't knock out the Magnezone. So as he brings in the Alola Persian, because Alola Persian does have Fur Coat, I was very scared that 1000 arrows wouldn't be able to knock him out. So what I'm gonna do here is just try to sack off my Marowak, but it turns out that I'm actually able to live the foul play, which is going to allow me to go for a Shadow Bone on his incoming Tapu Fini. He most likely thought that I would go for the Protect, but at this point I don't really need my Marowak anymore. Marowak was literally only here for the Magnezone, and it can lose to this Tapu Fini and the Alola Persian. So I'm able to get off like maybe 2 or 3% on the Tapu Fini, because I'm pretty sure Leftovers just gave him back most of the damage that I did to him. And if he does want to Calm Mind here, it doesn't really matter at this point, because even at +1 at this low of HP that the Tapu Fini is at, I can still Revenge Kill him with my Xurkitrees. And if he did go for the Calm Mind, I probably would have gone for the Volt Switch into my Zygarde just to get off that extra little bit of damage. And if he did live, I then could have brought back in Xurkitrees and gone for the Thunderbolt, because he didn't go for the Calm Mind. Thunderbolt will definitely knock him out, and at this point his last 2 Pokemon are the Alola Persian and the Mega Pinsir, which even if he does have Quick Attack on Pinsir, there's no way he's gonna be able to knock me out at over 50% HP, as he actually has the Feint, which for those of you who don't know, Feint is a normal type move that goes through Protect, so it's always pretty handy to run on Mega Pinsir instead of Quick Attack. Either way though, I'm able to take the hit, knock out the Pinsir, and Alola Persian doesn't learn Sucker Punch as far as I know, and at +2 I will definitely be able to fulfill his wish because of his nickname and put it out of its misery, and that is going to be the 2-0 victory in my favor. So I thought that this was a really good game. Hopefully you guys did enjoy, and if you did, make sure to hammer the like button down below, guys. The support is greatly appreciated. Also, let me know about the common question of the day, and with that being said, guys, if you may have missed my previous 2 uploads, they will be on the end screen at the end of the video. So with that being said, guys, I will see you all tomorrow. Later, everybody.
Cause my brain and heart are both tied in the knot, and this hinders me from crying a lot. This causing me to show no emotion, but when I said I cared, I wasn't joking. But I guess it's too late for me to become broken. For now, I'm living with no more pain, tears of hoping. I'm just coasting. Yeah, I said I'm coasting. No more pain, tears, and hoping. For real.